Oh, Twitch, how are you today? I'm back with another episode of Live Coding. I'm not muted. My name is Matt Groves. I do live coding here on Twitch. This is episode 31, and today we're going to pick up where we left off on Tuesday, doing some chatbot unit tests. We're adding a feature to the chatbot to kind of shout out to people in the chat room. And I've got some other stuff in store that I think might be pretty cool there. And if we get to it, I'd like to introduce some SignalR to the chatbot for a couple reasons. One, because I haven't used SignalR in a long time, and I know it's changed a lot since the last time I used it. And we can do some cool stuff in the chat room. And I think eventually I'd like to do some cool stuff with the eventing features of Couchbase. So use eventing to kind of push events back to the web application, which will in turn push events up to the web page. So I don't know if we're going to get that far today, but we're going to aim high. All right. The motto of this channel, my motto, in fact, the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. So if anything here seems puzzling to you, or you're confused by something doesn't make sense, or you're just curious about something, or curious about something related. We're doing coding here. If you're curious about something in coding, ask away. Do not be shy. We're not going to call your question stupid because it is a good question. No matter how stupid you might think it is, I think it's going to be an amazing question, and it might kick off a whole interesting discussion. So do not be afraid to ask a question in this channel. All right, Team Live Coders. I am a member of Team Live Coders, which is a Twitch team. You can see here, twitch.tv/Live Coders, 78 members strong. InstaFluff streaming right now, as I believe he always is on Thursday at this time. And Code Rush also streaming. I was just hosting Code Rush, I believe, and myself. Lots of other members of this team who are not currently streaming, but do stream from time to time. All kinds of interesting stuff. So check it out. Twitch.tv/Live Coders. Find yourself someone who's streaming there and check out, see what they're doing. Looks like InstaFluff is doing some Microsoft Azure language, understanding AI. Maybe he means machine language? Or not machine language, machine learning? No, I don't know. I don't know what that means. It's very interesting. So maybe we'll stop by there later. What else? Awesome developers. Why am I getting Outlook notifications? Awesome developers streaming list GitHub/BNB/awesome developer streams. This is a text file that just lists people who are streaming. Hasn't been updated in 9 days, so we're not going to do our normal search, but you can go on here, do a Control F, and you can find people who are streaming, not just Twitch, but Mixer and YouTube and Facebook and Periscope and whatever else people stream on. You can find it. So here's my old pal Kevin Griffin here, streaming some C#, some .NET, some 3D printing, some conference planning. Yes, he does some conference planning. He runs a conference or two or three, I don't know. So check out Kevin Griffin. He, time to time, will record his podcast on the Twitch channel. I've been there for a few of them. So it's just an example. Lots of people here streaming. You can find yourself a topic and find someone who's streaming it. Check it out. GitHub/BNB/awesome developers streams. All right. You can go to YouTube here. Go to bit.ly/GrovesTube, and the link is also down here at the bottom of the screen, over there somewhere. And you can get the archive of past videos. They are on Twitch for a short period of time, but I export them all over to YouTube. So you can see the whole archive there, all 30 plus episodes, plus highlight clips. I actually created a highlight clip recently because the ACID transaction stuff we did on Tuesday seemed pretty cool in its own right. So I did like a 15-minute highlight clip of that. So you can check that out. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, smash that like button, hit the subscribe, whatever the YouTube kids are saying today. Or don't. Whatever you want. I'm not your boss. All right, TwitchBot is on right now. You can see I've added a little bit of help text at the bottom of the screen. If you just type bang help, you'll get a list of commands. Not a huge list right now. We're working on that. Oh, Calvin just did it. And, is it not working? Oh, no. It whispers. It whispers the help to you. Yes, it doesn't throw it in the channel. It whispers it to you. Whispers. Calvin, let me help you. We're doing some ASMR now. No, just kidding. All right, and we've got the current project and the set current project. What is the current project? It is TwitchBot. Yep, that's what we're going to continue to work on today. So if you ever want to know the current project, you can just hit the bang current project there. And I'm the only one who can set current project because I'm in charge. That's right, you heard me. I'm in charge. All right. So command ideas. This is what we worked on Tuesday. The last thing we worked on Tuesday. After we did some ACID transactions with Couchbase. Brand new feature. Couchbase 6.5. Check it out. It's awesome. It was Java, but we survived that. We got through the Java, didn't we, Calvin? You didn't, you didn't die. You survived it. Anyway, we're working on a shoutout command. This is inspired by Michael Jolly's channel. We like to, we're on a team here. We're in a Twitch community. Yeah, it was fine. I'm telling you, Calvin, Java's getting better. If you squint a little bit, it kind of looks like C#. Just hang in there. All right. Anyway, this is not a Java channel, so don't expect a lot of Java there. Java here. All right, so I was working on a shout-out command inspired by Michael Jolly to just kind of promote other people who are in the chat room. They have their own stream stuff going on. Let's give them a shout-out. Go check out their channel, that kind of thing. So what we did yesterday, or Tuesday, was for the very first time in this project, I created some tests. And we created two tests. One, to make sure that a non-subscriber cannot shout it out. Only subscribers can use the shout out button, and it will shout out the Twitch URL to the channel. So I don't know, is this actually going to work? Yeah, there we go. So I can shout out myself. And so I believe, Calvin, if you hit bang user, it will also do the same thing for you. And there it is. Now, that's pretty good. Although, it's kind of basic. I mean, if anyone's chatting in the chat room, they could just click on your name and get a link to your profile. All right, so I want to enhance this a little bit. I think we can do better than this. Lucid Programming, you're not a subscriber, so it's not going to work for you. But thank you for that test. You did awesome. And thanks for stopping in, checking things out. Yeah, well, I can give you a shout out verbally. Just check out Lucid Programming. No, do not apologize, Lucid Programming. You actually just did some valuable testing for me because you're not a subscriber. It should not have worked. So that is basically a integration test, a functional test of this right here. So well done. You are helping. So no need to apologize. Yes, you are very useful. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. So here's the thing. Right now, it's just bang user, which I don't know why it's bang user. I want it to be bang SO because that's what Michael Jolly was doing. That's problem one. So I already changed that in the code here. This is not deployed yet, but that's what I did. The other thing is that I don't want it to only shout out yourself. I want you to be able to shout out other people. So if Calvin, for instance, wanted to shout out Lucid Programming, he could do that by saying, shout out Lucid Programming, like that, and specify a person and link to their channel. How about Whodat? Whodat Pokemon. Hey, the Michael Jolly, thanks for stopping in. Good to see you. Why is there a colon? Oh, that's a case statement. Yes, SO Lucid Programming. So it's not going to work because I didn't actually compile that yet, Calvin. But the problem is I didn't do that. I just took the username from the message and I did not parse the chat message at all. Me test good. So we need to do two things. We need to parse the username out of the chat message, which, that is a little tricky because what if it's typed incorrectly? Is there a way to verify that's actual username? I don't know. We might be able to do something along those lines. And yeah, so that's what we need to do. So let's do some tests, shall we? All right, so I'm using NUnit because I am NUnit for life. For life, NUnit. You could, with a Twitch API call, I could verify to see if they exist. All right, so that's something we can do. All right, so shout out will shout the given username. Okay, so let's do a quick arrange here. Username equals Shouty McShoutface. Okay, and we're going to create do basically what I did up here, which use these great builders with the Twitch lib that we, I say we, I mean Calvin and I, kind of fumbled our way through. If it will shout, should the message come out in all caps? I'm going to say no on that. I'm going to say hard no on that, in fact. Okay, the chat message is going to have a message, and can I give it a with... How do you actually specify the message? Go watch Calvin A. Allen! Chat message. Is there a with message? There we go. This is going to be, not chat, SO, and then I will put in Shouty, nope, our username, like that. Calvin Allen, you better clip that. All right, so in this case, the username doesn't matter who it is, as long as they are a subscriber. Oops, yes. So someone who's a subscriber is shouting out, someone is shouting out Shouty McShoutface. All right. Okay, and then we'll arrange the new shout command. We're just testing the command. So this will be the chat message being passed in. So, I mean, technically this part we're just kind of ignoring for this test, but it needs to be in there because we're going to be testing the parsing portion of this. And we'll get the expected message like this. This might actually break our other test, which is fine. Okay. Does that look right? Okay. All right, now we're going to act. So once again, we're going to do this. We're going to shout. We're going to pass in a bucket and an object. This is a problem, and I actually want to bring this up maybe right now. I think I've made a mistake in this command. Let it all out, yeah. I've made a mistake in this command query pattern. So I'm actually, with the execute, I'm passing in these dependencies, bucket and Twitch client, which is fine for now, because most of the time I'm using either bucket or Twitch client or both. But if I want to introduce other dependencies, like SignalR, for instance, then I have to add that to this execute, but also every other execute. And that's no bueno. That needs to be a part of the constructor. So I need to go back and refactor that before it gets out of hand. And then we'll have to worry about fewer mocks, I think, as well. Because right now, we're not using the bucket at all. It's just passing in a mock that does nothing. So it's just kind of wasted effort. We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. And then we're going to assert that this message was sent. So this should be a failing test. It will do the shout, but it will shout the wrong message. Yep, there we go. I love certs, especially winter green. Certs. Assert. Assert? Did I say certs? Is cert short for asserts? Okay. Yep. So it did not do it correctly. So we need to go in here and we're going to user to shout. You said assert, but I thought certs. Okay. It just free association. You're like, oh, certs. Okay. So how shall we parse this? There are only one remember certs. Certs are still around, aren't they? I think they are. I certainly have had certs recently. Pretty sure. You haven't seen certs in forever. Yeah, certs are kind of like a lifesaver, except it's mint, and like the middle is filled in. Like it's a tiny mint donut without a hole. I don't know. I'm describing it badly. Hashtag describe candy badly. All right, so there's lots of ways we could parse this out, right? But we could just take the message itself, the actual message, and we're going to replace shout out space with nothing. And then, so what that means is, so this is going to take input is going to be something like shout out name. And then user to shout is going to now be something like name, right? But it could also be, name, foo, bar, a lot of extra noise, right? So really, we only want the first token from that, right? So user to shout equals user to shout, split that up by a space, and take the first or default. Okay, so user to shout now equals name or name. All right, and yeah, that'll do it. So at this point, we probably want to verify that user to shout is an actual Twitch user, which according to Michael Jolly, that can be done. Okay, but now I want to take the user to shout and we'll put it here. Like that. Okay. Get rid of those comments. So discard the SO portion and take the first token after that as the name. Now, one other thing we should test for while I'm thinking about it is actually, well, there's a couple edge cases, but let's just see if this one works. So shout it will shout the given username. This should pass. I hope. Okay, it does. Now, however, let's run the whole test suite again, because now I've got a, I guess you call it a regression, right? So it's what I was testing before is that I would just shout out with no token, it would shout out myself. So I really don't want that to happen anymore. So we could say shout out will do nothing if no name is given. Okay, so this will be, it doesn't matter, the username in this case, right? Doesn't matter. And the expected message can go away. So we're shouting out a message, but the actual message is going to be just SO with nothing else. And we can then do a similar assert here that basically says we never actually use this send message. So let's see what happens. Okay. Should never been performed, but it was performed one time. So what that means is what? What are we actually getting here when I step through this with my janky parsing, which probably should be a separate function, by the way. Separate method. Hello, okay. So the user to shout is, in this case, oh, interesting. Okay, so I made a mistake in my parsing. All right. Why don't we just refactor this? Git parse username from command, and we'll just put in message there. So create a little private method here. This should be a string. This should be message. Okay. Oh yeah, just that message. We're going to replace SO, and then why don't we trim that as well? Am I thinking? Yeah, so it's going to trim spaces off the front and the back, which will be fine. And then we could also go as far as to just string this all together. split it and give me the first one after that. So we just return this. Okay. So we're going to remove this bang SO, trim it. So if there's a space after the SO or not, we'll end up with the same thing. Split it up by space. So we'll tokenize the rest of the command and give me the first one. Okay. And all right. So at this point, what I think this is going to return is a null if I run this test. I could be wrong about that. Okay, so it is not returning a null because I would expect a null reference exception. So let's just see what is happening. Okay, so we'll step into this one here. The message is bang SO. And it's okay, so it's just empty string. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So I want to basically say if string is null or empty, user to shout, then just straight up return. If there is no username specified, then bail out. And pass. Okay, I'll run all the tests. And they all pass. Terrific. Okay. Okay, now, according to the Michael Jolly, there's a way to verify whether a given name is an actual Twitch user. I don't doubt that. I'm just wondering if this Twitch client has that available. So we could say if is a valid Twitch user, and we could pass in the user to shout. We say if not a valid Twitch user, then again bail out. So we'll create a method here, and we'll just pass in the client for now. Again, I do want to refactor that because why is it doing this? Add parameter. Okay. So we've got a Twitch client. Is there anything is there like a command like does user exist? And that would be great, but I don't think that's probably what we're going to find. Twitch username, join channel, send whisper, reconnect, leave room. So join channel might be a way to do it, because if you specify a username doesn't exist, then it would probably return some sort of error message, but that's not really. Okay. Anyway, let's look at the documentation, I guess. TwitchLib. All right. I remember this had a wiki, I think, right? No? I was wrong about that. Client component TwitchLib for general overview and example. Okay. So there is a TwitchLib API. I'm using the TwitchLib client. This handles chat and whisper Twitch services. So events, that sort of thing. I'm not using the API. That may be what I want. General overview and example. Okay. Oh, API. Badges. So there's some undocumented stuff. There's user. So that might be something I have to check out, the TwitchLib API. All right, can we maybe look at an example of that? Is there a sample code? TwitchLib API. Usual stuff. That's a good commit message. All right. Rate limiter, all this stuff, that's optional, it looks like. Helix, third party, undocumented. Huh, well, I don't know what any of that stuff means. But it looks like user is supported. It's interesting they have undocumented listed under supported. So that must mean supported by this library, not necessarily supported by Twitch. Because usually if you support something, you document it. Whether or not you expose it doesn't really figure into whether it's supported or not. I don't know, let's give this a shot. Bring this in. For now, let's just say return true. But it might be worthwhile at this point to actually do the refactor of my execute here. So let's go back to here. So what I'm thinking is that instead of passing in bucket and Twitch client as parameters here, I pass them in to the constructor because I have this iCommand interface. Oh, that's not what I want. Go to implementation. No, not implementation. Definition. Okay, which has just one method right now: execute iBucket Twitch client. But if I do that, then pretty much it's going to be this. Which I'm kind of wondering, is that am I just doing this wrong? Because I return this command and I execute the command with commander here, and commander passes in those things. I wonder if I could get more sophisticated. I could also create a bunch of overrides here, which that would be kind of a mess, right? Can make these optional. I don't know. I don't really have a good thought on how to refactor this. Because what I think is going to happen is I'm going to have to introduce another, to use this Twitch API, I'm going to have to use another interface here, which I really don't want to keep stacking parameters into this execute method. Because I'm going to have to introduce Twitch API and possibly SignalR and other stuff like that, and it's just going to be unwieldy. Oh, maybe we'll just do a quick little bit of research, like command query pattern C#. And it's probably going to be one of my posts at the top, but let's look at, yeah, there's mine. Let's look at a couple blog posts or documentation. Yeah, commands to update data and queries to read data. Oh, you know what? I might be thinking about this. I might be making these commands too complicated. Right? Because the bucket and client, it's a command, they can both handle writes. But what I'm doing here is a valid Twitch user. This is more of a query. I'm querying. So what I would like for that is to call another command. Is what would make sense there, I think. So, my shout out is really kind of a higher level. So shout out is up here, and it's going to be using a command for the Twitch client and a query for is a valid Twitch user. So let me think about this. When to use this pattern. All right. All right, so here's an example. Extracts from an example of CQRS implementation. Use different definitions for the read and the write models. Products command handler class to handle commands sent by the application. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I was doing, except this is kind of weird that it's breaking it up on all these different types here. So it's inheriting from all of those to handle all of them individually. That seems a little weird. What else we got? Okay. This is a long one from 2013. Okay, post a great blog post. Right, I'll find a blog post here, so maybe I'll check that out. Find two interfaces: iQuery of tResult and iQuery handler. Yeah, repository. Could leave other methods. Better design. Okay. What do we got here? iQuery handler, tQuery tResults. All right. Yep. Find users by search text. Consumer, shortcoming this approach to generic structure. A lot of infrastructure code makes it harder to read. Yeah. Yep, extra layer of indirection. That is always the case, right? A mediator. Non-generic interface, one generic method. Depends on the tResult query. Query, and then process the query, yeah. Step through the query processor. So, I guess my concern here, well, maybe that's not a big deal. Maybe that's totally fine. So this is processing a query object, right, which just takes in this generic, which is kind of what we're doing. Yeah, okay. I think I'm on the right track here. So I'm thinking I move these up to here. Bucket equals bucket, client equals client. Should probably say Twitch client. But I'm actually using bucket here, so delete that. Okay. I'm not using bucket here yet, right? So client equals client. And then my I command, basically need to remove this. I think. Okay. And this is, so we can take this out. Change that to that. And then in here, this could use client, I suppose. So we'll need to pass this in. Although it's probably not going to use client. Okay. So there, I've refactored that one. Now, of course, it's going to break my other commands. Which is kind of why I wanted to do this early. Hello, where's my compiler error? Is that? There we go. Yeah, and this commander wouldn't take these in anymore. Yeah, so this is my sort of layer of indirection. Oh. Okay, current project does not implement. Yes, okay. So current project. These are both used, right? Bucket and yes. These would have to go up to here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like so. Help is the same thing. This is not using bucket though, so again, it's just kind of, there's no reason for it to be in there. Help is not tied to Couchbase, so why do I have it in there? Okay, what else we got? Null. This is my do nothing command. That's an easy one. Hey, I'm here now. Let the trolling commence. Calvin Allen's fault. You know, I checked out the Duck channel yesterday. Surly Dev, and it was actually pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, so this is using both of these. In fact, I believe we rated it. I rated it at the end. I don't know if you were stuck around for that or not. That was the channel I decided to raid at the end of my stream on Tuesday. And yes, I had a whole series of, I realized in my internet career I've accumulated an inordinate amount of duck-related content. You used your Twitch Prime sub on it a few months ago by accident. How do you accidentally subscribe to a duck channel? So this one actually only uses the bucket to store. So we don't even include a Twitch client there. So we're slimming down this code a little bit with this refactor, which is kind of nice. I'm just not sure quite yet this is the best refactor. A few hours each day? It seems like a lot of time to be messing with ducks. I was new to Twitch and didn't know what the Twitch Prime sub was and clicked the button. I've been there. Been there. I was like, what's this subscription to? Oh, I guess I get a free one. Oh, okay, whatever. Commander, okay. So this is where, yes, and I've got this stuff here. See, let me take out all these mocks. That was before I found all the developer streams. Yeah, I think at one point, like Twitch didn't, they only allowed gaming content. Like that was it. And it wasn't until some point where they said, okay, we'll allow live coding and crafting and all other kinds of content as well. I've been here about 4 months. I mean, I've been technically up on Twitch for a long time, but as live stream, as live coding, just over a year, I believe. And this particular series has only been 15-ish weeks, something like that. All right, so here's the problem with the pattern that I'm seeing right here is that now I have to pass in the Twitch client here. which I don't have. Yeah, I do. Why doesn't it like that? Oh, because it's not, oh, no. Non-static field or property. Oh, because it's not static. Okay. Why is this static? Do I need this to be static? I don't remember why I needed this to be static. Okay. So bucket and then Twitch client. So I'm wondering if there's a way for me to instantiate these in a more, I don't know, generic way. So I'm doing it by hand right now. Okay, but there we go. That's it. So I think that is refactor complete. Almost. So I've got this mock client dot object. I need to clear my test a little bit. Okay, at this point, I don't need this mock bucket anymore. All right. So there. Ignore these because I'm running the process right now. One sec, please go back to that switch statement. Sure. Right here, this switch statement, this takes in a chat message and looks at the actual text and determines which command to instantiate based on the text. Now, I think at some point, I mean, right now we're talking 4 commands, so it's not a big deal. But I would like this to be a little bit more generic in the way I don't want to have to actually write a literal new help here. That sort of thing. I like to use some activator or dependency inversion or something like that. But right now it's just kind of a manual sort of process. Okay, so let me just run my tests again to make sure I didn't break anything with that refactor. And boom, okay. So the only thing I have left now is I need to figure out, can I actually to use Twitch API to determine if a user is a valid Twitch user. I think right now, though, it is time for a commit. Come on, Explorer, what is your deal? Let's go. Okay, good gracious. Okay, TwitchBot commit. Added shout out command, refactored command query pattern a bit. So let's just recap what we did. So I simplified Commander by taking the Couchbase stuff away from it. Current project. We moved this stuff to the constructor. For help, again, move this to constructor. All these commands, we've moved the constructor. We've simplified the iCommand interface. Store message, simplify that command. I've made this one a little more complicated by making these constructors, pushing that stuff to the constructor. I've added mock to the project. And what did I change the solution? Oh, we added the unit test project, that's right. And here's the unit tests. And added unit tests. Okay. And we'll push that out to GitHub. If you want to check out the code on GitHub, just type in bang current project and you'll get the URL for it right there in the chat room. And you can see that I just pushed out live changes there if you're so inclined. All right, so now I need to figure out if I can, and if so, how, to make a request to the Twitch API to get TwitchLib to figure out if a given user is valid or not. Okay, authenticated and unauthenticated calls. Oh, interesting. And there's a user API, so I think that's what I want to examine here. Because I committed this code, it's relatively easy for me to roll back, which is why it makes a good place to do the commit before I start experimenting with this Twitch API. Okay. So I want to learn more about this user stuff. TwitchLib client, TwitchLib.api, Visual Basic. Oof. All right, Twitch API is now a singleton class that needs to be instantiated with optional client ID and auth token. Please know that failure to provide at least a client ID and sometimes an access token will result in exceptions. The V3 subclass operates almost entirely on Twitch usernames. V5 and Helix operate almost entirely on Twitch user IDs. There are methods in all Twitch API versions to get corresponding username. Okay. So API is new Twitch API, and it says a singleton class. I thought it said. What does that mean if I have to new it up? I don't quite understand. Okay. All right. It's new Twitch API. Should not do it here, but we're just doing it to test it out. Now, where do I pass in the actual... Oh, right here. API settings, and I believe I have those in config. Oh, it says client ID. Is that username? I don't know. Config.oauth key. That's my access token. I'm going to make that assumption. Okay, and now I want to say API.v5 users. I can say get user. This is all async stuff. So I could just... I haven't made these commands asynchronous yet. Could probably still do that. Unblock. So these are all async. So I have to be async here, I think. With V5 anyway. What else we got? Helix? I don't know what Helix is. I saw a mention of that up here. Somewhere. Supported Twitch API endpoints V5 and Helix. It's just a different type of endpoint? It is, okay. But it's still async. Fine. And well, there's another one. Settings, third party, and undocumented. All right. Well, let's just do V5. Users. Get user. By name. User. Username. What is this going to return? This was returning a list of users. Okay, I don't know. Wait. And yes, this is an async method, so this has to be async. And it has to be a task of bool. And is that how it works? How do I call that? Yes, this has to be async. Okay, which means we have to go back to command here, I think, and this has to also be async. Oh, although it doesn't seem to really care. That might bite me in a second, but let's just find out here. Users equals, okay. Users dot matches total. So total greater than 0. That's all I really care about. Okay, so let's go to shout out test. And let's just make this one public. So I'm just sort of toying this right now. I'm going to actually go back and make this you know, this should not be a new here, right? You should never put a new right in a method like this. It makes it impossible to test and tightly coupled to that. So, but I just want to try it out. New shout out. And I don't know, this will be, I don't really care, but I do need a client. No, I don't need a client. Right, and that shouldn't cause any exceptions, right? Yeah. Okay, and then we can just say result equals shout dot is user. Okay, so I'll put in Matthew D. Groves here. Should be async method. Task. Okay, and we'll assert that result is true. Because Matthew D. Groves is a valid user. So let's just see what happens. Looks like it failed. Your request failed because either what? I'll step through it, I guess. Try it again. Okay, we'll step into this. Probably something with the authentication here, right? Oh, it's done. Oh, what happened? Or did I get an exception? Hmm. What am I missing here? Client ID access token. Is this client ID actually? Is this different than? Move this off screen here. Because what I have is in my config. I have username and OAuth key, which is probably not what this is expecting. Right? I've got this. So is there a separate thing with a Twitch API key I need for this? That could be absolutely a possibility. Developer.twitch.tv. Let's try that one. Okay, Twitch developer API. Dev.twitch.tv. All right. Docs. Why build on Twitch? Twitch API. Okay. Start building. I don't know. I don't want to build an extension. I want to get an API key. How do I get it? Use Twitch API. The Twitch API. Okay. Make API calls. You need a client ID. To retrieve one, log into the Twitch developer dashboard. Okay, so I'm going to take that off screen. AKA console. Okay. OAuth redirect URL. I don't necessarily need that one. This much exactly matches the redirect URI parameter. Password authorization endpoint. Okay. I don't know. Let's make this localhost and see what happens. Okay, there's a client ID and a client secrets. Okay, interesting. So over here, I'm going to need another one. Public static string. API, let's call it API client ID. Whoa. equals Twitch. Can't type. Twitch API client ID. Still can't type. Really struggling with typing. API client secrets. That's just for example. I'm going to actually check into source control. I'm going to go to my private config file, which is a partial class that I'm not showing on the screen right now, and copy those values into there. I messed up with semicolons. Maybe you noticed that. Okay. Yeah, over here. That should be semicolon there, semicolon there. Okay. And we'll comment these out. These are just being checked in for people to see as an example. All right, so back to my service here. Where is it? Shout out. These I'm passing the wrong things. This should be API client ID. This should be API client secret. That's my current hypothesis anyway. Not that I really have an exception that's giving me real good information. Let's give her a shot. And, oh, hey, got something. Result is true. Okay, terrific. So now let's see if we can't find a Twitch user that doesn't exist. So Surly Dev likes ducks. I'm guessing that's not a real username. Yep, okay. So we will try that, testing the opposite case. Surly Dev likes ducks. And that's going to return false? It is. Okay, well, there we go. Easy as that. So now I know what to put into my service here. So I need a Twitch API. And I'm just going to say API. So all this stuff is going to go out of here. Yeah, that's it. So this stuff is going to go over to here, where I'll do this at the very beginning. So this is going to set up Twitch chat, set up the Couchbase, and this will be set up Twitch API. This is all stuff that's happening in the hosted service. So at that point, I can then pass in the Twitch API to here. And there we have it. Okay. So that should work. So this method now, assuming that this API works correctly, is going to verify that the user is an actual Twitch user. So I need to go and create another mock. So this is going to be mock API equals new mock Twitch API. Got that. And that's going to be passed into here. I gotta wonder if there's a way to refactor these tests so I don't have to do that every time. Oh, this should be .object. There probably is. Okay, but I want to make another test here that says shout out will not shout if the given user name isn't a real Twitch user. Okay, so I'm going to do a range, and really it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter either. But it does matter that it's a subscriber. Okay. So then we're going to shout. Create a shout. Then we'll act. Shout.execute. Fine. And then we need to assert. Oh, we also need to mock client setup. Not mock client, mock API. X.setup. Setup. Oh my goodness. Dot setup. X dot. Now the weird thing is, this is going to be like kind of layer within, a few levels deep. So we'll see how mock handles this. But get users by name async. User lookup. This one right here. User lookup. Okay. This is going to be user lookup. And that's going to, what doesn't it like? Specify the setup and mock. Okay. Ambiguous. Oh. What? Get users by name. Is that what I was using, right? User by name. Get user by name. Okay. Returns false. So I'm just mocking out the Twitch API. So I want it to, This returns a task. Is there a mock for async? Setup. That could be a problem. I don't think I've ever done this before. Mock async. Task from result. Is that it? That's all I need to do? Task from result. False. Doesn't seem to like that. Cannot. Oh. Yes, because it's not returning true or false. It's returning a list of users, which should be an empty list. Is that the right one? No, I don't want to use the Couchbase user. I want TwitchLib API v5 models users. TwitchLib API v5 models users user. New list of that. Empty list. And I think it's asking for an array. What doesn't it like about this? Users. Calvin Allen. Oh, back. I didn't know you were even gone. Get user. Okay. Well, that's fine, I guess. Meetings. new users matches equals just empty. I don't really care. Well, let's just see if this works. Right unit test, Calvin. I also brought in the Twitch API, which is separate from the Twitch client. I can make requests to the API. I needed a separate token for that to make this happen, because if we're going to shout out a user, we want to verify first that it's actually a real user. This will prevent typos or stuff like that. So now I'm trying to mock out that API. This is the real bugaboo right here. We'll see if this actually does anything. But I want to basically make it do nothing. Okay. Let's see what happens. Be nice if it worked first time for a change. Unsupported expression may not be used in non-overridable members, may not be used in setup verification expressions. Yeah, I'm trying to mock this get user by name async, but it is the Twitch API package any good? I'm considering writing my own layer and doing all the cards myself. I don't know yet. So far, I mean, so far it worked. I already tried an actual, actually calling it. It worked fine. I'm basically trying to get user by name. That worked fine. Actually mocking it out, that's a whole nother deal. So, because if you look here, this is the actual, my call to the API right here. This is the API object, .v5.users, .getUsername, and it's all async. Get my username. And this works. I already tried this. But now I'm just trying to write a unit test to make sure that the rest of the logic in here works. And I'm having a bit of trouble. Having a wee bit of trouble setting up this mock. Any ideas there, Calvin? It just gave me a message. Where was it? That I can't override get user by name async. I'm wondering. That method specifically is off of users, which is inside VS, which is inside the mock client. You don't have users mocked. Right, that's kind of what I'm getting at. So if I want to set up like x.v5, that's going to have to return my mock v5, which means I need to create a mock v5, ov5, looks like an S. Yeah, whatever. Equals new mock of, and what is that? That is, I don't know what that is. New mock of v5. Is there an interface for that? Doesn't look like there is. I mean, it might be an interface itself. Let me just take a look. Yeah, it's just a plain old class. And you see it has this users here. Yeah, this is some trubs. This is some trouble. Time for a fake. Well, what do you suggest there for a fake? What do you mean by that? Because we got into this a little bit yesterday, the whole mock versus fake versus stub thing. And, yeah. Are you saying I should, instead of trying to use the mock framework, I can create my own implementation, right? What is users? So users is one of the sets of the API. So they've got this organized by the different APIs, right? So you have root and search and teams and games, and down here is user. Users, does that have an interface? That was the question you just asked, and I can find out. Maybe. Oh, okay. Mock v5. Go to definition. And users, does that have an interface? So we're going to go to that definition, and it does not have an interface. It inherits from API base, which might have an interface, but that's not really what we're looking for. It doesn't have an interface. So no interface is there. So what I think you're saying, Calvin, is that I would have to create a new fake v5 type of a class, and I'm going to need, or no, fake Twitch API, I think is what you're getting at. Inherit from it, override, etc. Right. So public class fake. So this inherits from iTwitch. iTwitch API, which is going to have all these members. All I really cares about is this one. Ignore and region. Ignore that. Whoops. Why aren't you cooperating region? Okay. So then inside of v5, how do I deal with that though? Because there's no interface there. Mock all of them. All of them. So I need to, just need to inherit from v5? That sort of thing? Just return fake v5? Return new fake v5. Something like that. Oh, what did I do? What happened? Public class fake v5 inherits from v5. Can I override? I can't override anything though. What is going on here? Inherit and hide the methods with new. Oh, with new. Okay, so it's not override, it's new. Yes, yes. It's all coming back to me now, Calvin. To the definition. And what I care about is users, right? So this right here is what I want. But users is, man. Public new users. Also not an interface. Users is never used. Yeah, I know. Okay. This is return. Fake users. I know, return new fake users. Public class fake users. This inherits from users. Okay, and then all the method I really care about is get username by async. Good definition. What? Oh, yeah. Good definition. This one is what I want. Good definition. Get user by get user by name async right here. Public new. And this is right here, I guess. Name by async. Why doesn't it like this? Does not hide an accessible member. The new keyword is not required. Oh, did I do something wrong? Oh, noes. I don't know. Don't panic, Calvin. Don't panic. Did I just copy something wrong here? Users. Get user by name async. It's in users. Okay. Oh, wait. Yeah, task. Task users. Oh, this is the wrong... I think this is the wrong users. There's multiple users in here. Okay. Oh, this has got some sort of... whatever. I can ignore that. Take off new. Yeah, so we're in good shape now. Create my own constructor. It does nothing. What doesn't like that? Base class doesn't contain parameterless constructors. Yeah, I know that. I'm trying to add one. Can I do a new constructor? How do I do that? Man, why can't I remember this stuff? Modifier new is not valid for a constructor. Yeah, can't do that. Users class doesn't have a parameter constructor, just the one with all the interfaces. Yeah. So you can't have one on the child. Yeah. I don't want to have to deal with this, though. Up here. But I guess I'll have to. I don't know. Do I have to call the base? Yes, I do. I can just pass in nulls. This is an awful lot of work for one little test. No. Cannot implicitly. Yeah, because again, this is the wrong one. Might use it more once you get further. Well, so what does it like here? No, okay. Let's return 0. Okay, so this is just going to return public mock fake, I don't know, fake results, something like that. This is going to be a public, private get public set. And what this is going to do is just return that. What is the problem? Task dot completed tab. Like that. What am I doing here? Can't convert. Oh, because gosh, again, it is this. There's two different users objects. Now what? What isn't like it now? Cannot convert expression users to API. Oh, that is what I want though, isn't it? This is bothering me. That's down at the bottom. I always like to have constructors up top. You need to return a task. Task from result. Cannot convert. Coding Gorilla. Hey, Coding Gorilla. thanks for stopping in. Is that going to do it? Oh. Okay. All this work here to test one little 2-line function. Ugh. Would have been much easier. And this might be something I would suggest to the maintainers to maybe stick an interface on this. So make it a little easier to test. Don't know. Okay. Well, we still don't know if it's actually going to work or not. So let's try it out. Okay. So down here. Dot, what is it? Dot v. It's fake Twitch API. Yeah. Mock v5, not mock API. We're not doing that. Oh wait, yes we are. Okay. Mock API dot setup x dot v5 returns mock v5 dot object. So this needs to go up here. What am I doing wrong? Oh no, it's not object. It's not mock. What's the problem here now? Cannot confirm. New fake v5. What is that? What called it? Fake v5. New fake v5 that requires a construct. We'll have to pass in there. I can't do a. Yeah, I can do that. Cannot confirm. What are we doing here? Returns. Why doesn't it like this? Oh. Man, oh man. I am just... Okay. This has really got me spun out. Okay. Mock API. So I think we're good there. So down here... I need to say the fake... maybe this is confusing. This should be called fake v5, not mock v5. Fake v5.users dot... No, I think I need to do this down here, don't I? This needs to happen within the test. This part does anyway. Mock API equals new mock I Twitch. Because we still need a mock in place for just as like a dummy object. So down here in this test, this is also part of the arrange where you say mock API dot setup x dot v5 to return fake v5, which I need to create. Fake v5 equals new fake v5, and then fake v5 dot users dot Is mock v5 a fake Twitch API? No. No, it is not. Fake v5. So this is fake Twitch API. Oh, Lord. Is this really worth it? Because what I need to do is I need to get down here and set this. Can I make this whoops. Can I do that? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, so that's going to turn the fake v5. Now the fake v5 has a users, which needs to be a new fake users, which I can ignore these basically. And then fake v5.users. And this needs to have a fake get user. Okay, we're finally there. And I want this to return a false. That user does not exist. What don't you like now? Oh, no. I want it to return empty users. Okay, so I'll set this up to return v5. Okay. Run. Sure, it's going to fail. Oh, it passes. Okay. And then we'll just sort of do another test case here. Shout out will. Shout out if the given username is a real Twitch user. And so in this case, how do I? Matches equals new user. List of user. New user. What's the problem here? Yeah, it's ambiguous. That one. Why do we even have Couchbase in here? Ah, the excess. Private get, private set. So I need a users that contains more than one user. Doesn't like about this. Yeah. It's not an array. Fine. But matches isn't setting. Yeah, because it's protected. Which means I have to fake that out too, don't I? At least that's protected. Oh, what am I doing? Public class. Did not really mean this to turn into a clinic on fakes and unit testing. We're going a long way here. Long way. Doesn't like this. Fake user collection. Oh. Whoever wrote the Twitch API client should be shot. I don't think that's fair. But perhaps they've not considered what you have to go through to write unit tests using the API. Or perhaps they have a different opinion on how to write unit tests. Because I'll need to give them props. This does actually work. It's just putting it into a unit test is becoming difficult. This is users. And this is user. That's what I want. Fake user collection. Okay, and override. What was it, total? Crying out loud. Definition. Not that definition. This one. Yeah, I just want to return total. That's all I really care about. Just override total. Huh? Thought you used ReSharper. I am using ReSharper. Public int total protected. Oh, I can just set. I can set total. I don't need to. Right? I'm looking at as total. Int total, and just set total equals total. Just do that. That right click, go to definition thing is getting tongue sticking out. Huh? Big user collection. 100. I don't even care. All right. There's 100 users with that name. Control B that baby. All right. Well, I'll try. I'll try and remember that. This is going to pass? It does pass. Okay. So look at that. They all pass. Well, hopefully they all pass. Oh. Why doesn't this one pass? Shout out will shout the given username. Because you only had to write 1,000 lines of fake code. Yeah. Because I didn't mock out. Okay. So I can probably get rid of this test actually. Or no, this is testing something different. This is testing that the message actually gets out. So I don't care if, and this probably could use a helper or something, I don't know. Right here. And, oh, what doesn't like that one? What's that mean? What in the world? What? It means it was, why is it ignored? One error. Is the board unable to read data from the transport connection? Existing connection forcibly closed by remote host. What? Remote host? Just need to go ahead of the shout? Like, is it actually trying to use the API? Oh, wait. I think it's still ignoring it. What did I do wrong here? Inconclusive, not equals ignored. Okay, yeah, but why is it inconclusive? What am I doing wrong here? Sorry, you're right, inconclusive, yeah. Debug it. Where are you getting stopped at? Alright, we'll just throw a debug on there. Object reference set to instance of an object. Okay, so that, yeah, I thought I was doing that though. Fake v5. A client ID or auth token is required to use the Twitch API. Yeah, okay. Your app's an exception is being weighted as never reaching the verify. something like that, but it seems like I'm actually hitting the Twitch API, which does not compute. But only in that test. Yeah, something's not right there. Not client object. Hey, everyone. Return fake v5. Shout out. It should be the mock, right? Why would it be anything but the mock? Yeah, it's definitely a mock. Mock of v5. Yeah, it's fake v5. Fake users. Okay, is a subscriber. Yeah. User shout equals, okay, fine. Is it a valid Twitch user? This is... OAuth token is required. Why? Why is it hitting an OAuth token? Why is it looking for that? But not in the other tests. Will shout the given username. That's the only test that's failing. Is it the only test that tries to hit the API if it weren't faked? I don't think so. I mean, is it valid Twitch user? This should be getting hit by everything. Well, not everything. By other tests too. Like the ones we just wrote. Right, so this one will not shout if the given username isn't a real Twitch user. So this one should be hitting all that fake nonsense we just wrote. Okay, and there it is. It's hitting it. Fake v5, users. Doesn't matter. Oh. I just hit that one. It just hit it there. But how is it passing? This is some async race condition nonsense, isn't it? Is it just like, is there some sort of internal test that it's, or like internal thing? What's the stack trace on the exception? I also wonder if it's some kind of setup issue. It's got to be. You know, at this point, I'm pretty much ready to toss this out. This is a lot of nonsense for this. Testing this. Constructor require the API token. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe it's looking to see if the API token is, you know, not null or empty. So maybe we can... Maybe I can just set that up here. I don't know. Mock API. Client. What was it? Where did I do that? This right here. Settings.client ID. Settings.access token. Object.settings.access token equals foo bar. I doubt it, but well, now they all fail. Probably because I can't do this. I don't know. This is annoying. It doesn't make sense that if I run them all, only one fails. But if I run it individually, that one fails, which to me just screams out race condition. Yeah, it's something like that. Now I wonder if it's time you create an intermediary class, handles the actual API calls, you pass in your service, and you mock that thing instead. Yeah, I guess I could do that, but am I really really gaining anything by doing that? At this point, you're saying just take this, wrap it in my own class. Yeah, I would get rid of the fakes. Well, the fakes aren't helping me right now anyway, right? So get rid of the fakes and just wrap this in my own like facade, basically, on top of the Twitch API. And you know, towards the future, then Calvin, if you did a similar thing, you could start using a Twitch API, and if you wanted to, implement your own HTTP calls instead. Well, it's worth a shot, I guess. We can, you know, get rid of this, maybe. Stop all this drudgery. And just create my own stuff. So it would be like, I don't know, Twitch API wrapper. Twitch API wrapper. I like to put the interface up top. How do you move a class? Is it like Control Shift Page Up, Control Alt Page Up, something like that? I can't remember. It's another shortcut in ReSharper that I wish I memorized. Cut and paste. Yeah, cut and paste is easier. All right, so shout out. This is going to say Twitch API wrapper. Never remember that one either. Yeah. Okay. And then I'll just have my own. It'll still have to be async, but it'll be does user exist? It's going to be Boolean. And so I don't even have to do this totals thing. I'll just return that. Maybe even I don't even need this method, right? I can just say like this. There's no sense wrapping that in a wrapper. Yo, dog, I heard you like wrappers. So I put a wrapper in your wrapper so you can rap while you're rapping. Okay, and this is going to take, is this constructor here. This is going to take the Twitch API. API, and do that. Because then this is just going to return await API v5. Nope. v5 users get user by name async username. Result equals return result dot total greater than 0. What's the problem here? Oh, async. Yeah, Calvin, I see it. Jeez, man, give me a second. All right, switch API wrapper. Fine. So we got this nonsense here, and Twitch API wrapper. So Twitch API. Equals new Twitch API wrapper, passing in that API. Okay. Look at all that goodness. That wrapping goodness. Is that everything I need? Get rid of all this garbage here. And then it gets real simple. Twitch API wrapper. Get rid of all this. Mock API setup. Does user exist? And it's going to be the user lookup. And we're going to return. What is it? Task dot. Yeah. From results, right? Does user exist? And we want the user, yes, to be true. Okay. Up here, shoutout will not show if the given username is not a real Twitch user. You can also do returns async. Oh, really? Oh. Well, heck, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a setup async, but returns async. That would be just fine. Much nicer. Thank you, Coding Gorilla. Do you use Mock? Is that your mocking tool of choice? Shout out. Heck yeah, man, Calvin is getting hyped. He's starting to make lots of spelling mistakes. His caps lock key is stuck. He's out of control. All right, and we'll just do a mock. Oh. We'll do a similar mock here. Too much coffee this afternoon. I actually only had 1 cup of coffee today. Okay, and shout out Wilsh. Okay. Same sort of thing here. Does user exist? Username. Oh, brother, I'm on 4 or 5, huh? Well, so when I say cup, I mean, I have like a kind of a tiny coffee machine, and it's got numbers on the side, 1 through 5. Yeah, I'm guessing those are cups. So my cup is like 3-ish, 3.5-ish. It's my Yeti, which is upstairs, I guess. That's what fits in a Yeti. I need to get myself a real coffee machine. Maybe that's a something my kids give me for Christmas, sort of thing. All right, I think we're good. Let's try it. Skipping a few steps here in the normal TDD flow, but okay. Shout out will shout out if the given username. This one's failing. Using a real Twitch user. This should return true. User exists. What is the problem here? What is going on here? Why aren't you passing? Your mock didn't match. My mock didn't match. Huh? The expectations. Setup, does user exist? Huh? Chat message. What are you talking about, Willis? Oh, this down here? Run it again, look at the test result error. Oh. Yeah, this is okay. Oh, wait. I think this isn't right. This will shut out the given username. But my expectation is that it will never get called. That should be called once, times once. Yeah, okay. Weird. Okay, now what's this one? This will not shout out the username is not a real Twitch user, so this should be a false. Man, What's wrong with me? Okay. Passing tests across the board. Probably should have done this at the very beginning, but I thought, no. Twitch lib should be easy enough for me to mock out as is. 100% coverage. I don't even look at the coverage. But I think I do have 100% coverage, yeah. Alright, so let that be a lesson to you. If you can't mock something, don't keep trying. Just wrap it. Just wrap that business. And then you can, ditch it later. You could replace this with your own native HTTP calls if you wanted to. Or, I guess if the Twitch, if there's other good benefits to this wrapper, right? If they go and they change the signature of this function, or call it something different, or the API changes to some extent, well, that's fine, because you're sort of one level and direction away from it. Look at it this way. Anyone watching this doesn't know testing patterns. This may be useful to your evolution. I hope so. Anyone who does know testing patterns that's watching probably stopped watching about an hour ago. And like, Matt, what are you doing? Stop, Matt. But yeah, we're there. So yeah, this is a very yeah, thank you, Coding Gorilla. Yeah, we definitely showed a lot here. This is stuff that Calvin and I used to do all the time. We started with mocks. Didn't go bad. Didn't work because we didn't have interfaces. Then we went to fakes. That's a way to get around the interface problem. That didn't work so well. So then we went back to plain old mocking, but we introduced a facade pattern there. So yeah, we've showed a lot of cool stuff. Taken way longer than I wanted to today, because we are definitely coming up on 3:30, which is just about 2 hours limit for me. But we accomplished a lot of refactoring and testing here today. Didn't get to go to SignalR. Didn't get to talk about the interesting stuff I want to do with the shout out. Didn't get to any of that, but we made some progress. So I think I'm gonna make the stopping point here. Let's do a quick commit. So we just review what we did. So the shoutout command is refactored to use the Twitch API wrapper. And we got the user exist on there to verify the user exists. Thanks to Michael Jolly for pointing out that API is possible. I did add a couple things for the support the Twitch API there. Modified the hosted service to use the wrapper. Added some comments in there, and passed the API in. We added the Twitch lib API client, and this is the big one. We added some unit tests to verify that. So unit tests for shout out to confirm real Twitch name. Created wrapper for Twitch API. Okay. Commit. And we'll do a push. So again, if you want to hit the, what is it called? Pound current project, you'll see the link for this GitHub repo that I'm working on. It's all open source, it's all public, so help yourself. Do whatever you want with it. I don't have a license file in there, but my license is whatever you want to do. That's my license. Thank you, Calvin. All right, so that's it for today. Let's see who we can raid of the few that are left hanging out after all this stuff we went into. Okay, we got lots of choices here. Oh, the Michael Jolly. Of course, Lana Lux, we've rated her in the past, rated InstaFluff in the past. Honest Dan Games, I don't think I ever rated Honest Dan Games, designing our community stream game. Aha! That's interesting. Okay, I think since I've raided Michael Jolly several times, and if I raid Michael Jolly, I'm going to end up like spending another hour in his channel, not getting work done. So why don't we try Honest Dan Games today? See how this goes. So I want to give a thank you to Calvin, Coding Gorilla, and there was one more, I think. Surly Dev was in here. Michael Jolly was in here. Lucid Programming. Thank you, everybody, stopping in today to hang out, watch me struggle with unit testing, mocking, wrappers, fakes, all that business. Sorry we didn't get to more stuff. Next week, I will be traveling. I will be in San Francisco for Oracle Open World, so I will not be streaming either Tuesday or Thursday. So I would suggest that you check out Calvin A. Allen's stream, because I'm sure he'll be doing some interesting stuff. Twitch.tv/Calvin A. Allen, or you can find somebody on Twitch/team/livecoders, like the Michael Jolly, for instance. So that's it. I'm going to start the raid here for Honest Dan Games. Okay, if you're a subscriber, you can hit the bada bing bada boom emoji, emote, whatever it's called, while you're over there. Be nice to Honest Dan, and that's it. We will see you in just over almost, not quite 2 weeks. We'll see you in not quite 2 weeks. All right, later.